influential member of a very large, globally famous church in Singapore was once telling me things that he and his wife did to support that church. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And he told me the line that his pastor used to spur them on. And it was that people serving and giving in the church should be burning, but not burning out. And I confess, as soon as I heard that, like a billion alarm bells started ringing. It was like guardian angels shrieking in warning. And it may be that my scepticism was unfounded, and I made an unfair intuitive leap in assuming that their generosity was being exploited. Like the best deceptions though, if it was that, it's a statement that contains just enough truth to hook people in. Burning, but not burning out. Now that language, it could conjure up very positive images from the Bible for you. You know, the divine revelation that Moses saw, for example. But also, there are clergy in Perth who use the phrase, on fire for the Lord, which I understand is not a form of evangelical ritual combustion. It's a sense that, someone really loves God and is keen to learn and serve and do all sorts of great things. And we love that. We want to see that. So we heard some teaching by Jesus today, which I think is in the same field, as it were, as being on fire for the Lord and burning, but not burning out. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. So again, if you're being sceptical, you can imagine how a church on the dodgier side of the spectrum could turn that into something a bit vampiric in nature. Those who love their life lose it, and those who hate their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Again, you could make it pretty easy to trade in misery if one was a wolf and not a shepherd. Give more, serve more, and if it gets you down, then how blessed are you? But let's frame it positively, because the thing is, Jesus is right, of course. The earthy agricultural metaphor is self-evidently true. That goes without saying. A seed goes into the earth, it undergoes change, it dies, and it brings forth more of itself and fruit. It's like gardening 101. But that pattern is true in so much of our lives. It is true in so much. If you give time to something, you will never, ever get that time back. It's gone. But depending on your use of that time, you could gain skills, experience, relationships, health and well-being, rest, a sense of satisfaction that you're doing something to help others. And it can apply to material stuff as well. If you take $1 to the casino, you're probably not going to have it very long. You invest $1 in crypto, again, you might not have it long. It might go gangbusters. You spend $1 on a tin of tuna and donate it to the emergency pantry here, and that can help. You can play around with that image however you like. Do you remember? It was just on 4 years ago now that we let the 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. services die to see what would grow in their place by joining together at 9 a.m. And that was scary at the time. It was pretty scary. But with this pattern in mind that Jesus taught, ask yourself whether that has borne fruit. So have a think about that pattern of giving life away and letting a seed die, whatever that looks like. Seriously have a think of an example that immediately springs to mind for you, because in a while I will come around to you collectively and see if a story crops up for you. There's a little agricultural pun there. That you would like to share in this congregation. So it's a bit of testimony time. So when Jesus said this, he had himself in mind as a seed which is going to fall, die, and bear much fruit, that would bring forth so many other seeds. And the thing is, a seed in itself, the reason it can bring forth fruit is because it contains a vast amount of information in itself, genetic information in that seed. That information is what tells the seed to put down those roots, to lift up towards the sun, to put forth foliage, whatever's going to continue its cycle. And the seed, it has to be broken through that process. The protective shell around the seed, it has to be compromised. Yet so much comes through that brokenness. It really is brokenness leading to life. So picture Christ as a seed. He's broken, he dies. That he would bring forth life, more seeds, more fruit. And what kind? Well, given that a seed contains the information in itself, the answer must be that Jesus the Christ is bringing forth more Christ. That's the information that's in the seed. That's the fruit that has to be born from that seed. And surprise, surprise, I guess extending that analogy to its conclusion, that more of Christ's self which is grown, it's us. It's you all here. We die with Christ in his baptism, and we come forth new. Our identity is taken into his. The qualities of our life, the information that is within us, that can be conveyed to others, that becomes his information, his essence. And you might push back and think, well, how does the seed which is me and how does the seed which is Christ, how does that interrelate? And we aren't finished products, right? We're full of both wheat and tares, to draw in another parable. And every single day, we're faced with choices. And those choices are opportunities, maybe to a chance to plant a seed that is not completely our own, but a seed which is Christ's. It has that information instead. And that takes hold and grows in you. And then another, and then another, and another. And you change. Your information becomes more of Christ's information. So to what extent then are you Christ-like? What do you need to do to cultivate that change of crop, as it were? Is the information you contain in yourself becoming more of his, and recognisably so to others? Because it is actually worth it, now and to eternity. So, I'm wondering if an example has come to mind for you that speaks of that pattern of a seed dying and bringing forth more. Giving some of your own life away and finding it more in abundance. So, this is that time to be brave. I'm opening up the space here. Someone's going to say something. They always do. Alan? When you were sorting the clothes out in the hall? Yeah. Getting the op shop set up? Yeah, absolutely. A whole team of people working together, giving that time, giving of themselves away, and something amazing is going to be born in that situation. So much fruit, 100-fold and more. Thank you. Hazel?
Yes. When you say that seed, we've dug in a lovely seed, which is our son. And he confirmed there was 2 seeds, our 2 beautiful grandchildren. And that is growth, and in some time we overdo it with our family, our grandchildren. We look after them, and sometimes they say, you get burnt out, but you just keep going and going. But this is a seed that we 2 of us have created, and he's giving us 2 beautiful seeds. In them, they will create seeds that for generations to come.
Absolutely, yeah. Passing on the faith to our descendants, and seeing it carry on. That's wonderful. Thank you. Can we get a hat trick? Something Trinitarian? Keep it a pattern of 3. Yes.
Well, some of you will remember way back when we didn't have, when we had all the land at the back. And some of you helped in creating a beautiful garden along the fence line. Do some of you remember?
Is that the 50 trees project?
Yeah. And the 6 or 8 trees that we planted at the back and nurtured into life. And then Parish Council said, we're going to develop that land into units and use the money to renovate this building. And for me, and for some of us, it was a real act of relinquishment that all the work we had put into the back was now going to be bulldozed. And we watched as the bulldozers came in and levelled all that area at the back. And the dust flew all over us. The seed had to die in order that we now have a renovated building and a whole new landscape around it. And the new life that's come from that relinquishment.
Thank you so much. That's very powerful. I mean, the image of the ashes coming down as well, the dust, very Lenten. There's a lot of courage and bravery in this place to make those sacrifices, to carry forth the mission of God in a new way, and acknowledging there's pain in that. But that's the pattern that Jesus taught, right? It's giving himself away and having trust that things will come out of this. Things will come out of that. You could pay attention just to how you live your life today with that pattern in mind and see what happens. Every situation you face, every choice, offer it to God. Consciously offer it to God, that your awareness will be opened to see what the sacrifice is and what will come from that.